Why is it that doorways are so often used in scary movies? Well, consider this possibility. There is an unknown on the other side of that door. And the director is actually counting on your imagination, filling in that unknown with the scariest image possible. And here's the funny thing. How many times have you been watching a scary movie and what you're imagining is way worse than the actual monster that gets revealed? When the monster gets revealed, you might even laugh and be like, what? Like, that's silly, that's stupid. And oftentimes what's on the other side of a possibility in our life, doorways represent possibilities, don't they? On the other side of that possibility might not just be something scary, it might be something good for you. But the key is, how do we cause ourselves to move forward and not get paralyzed by fear when we're standing at the doorway of an opportunity? Today, I'm going to share with you 3 steps for how to reprogram your mind so that you can move forward when you're standing at a doorway of opportunity instead of being stuck by fear. Check it out. Now consider for yourself a doorway or an opportunity that's in front of you right now. It might be a new relationship you would love to create. It might be a new job you would love to have. It might be the book you want to write or the nonprofit you want to start. There's some sort of opportunity that exists for you right now. Imagine that as a doorway. There are 2 main types of fear that stop us from walking through that doorway. And those 2 types of fear are, number 1, the fear of pain, and number 2, the fear of loss. Your brain will conjure up, your imagination will conjure up all kinds of fear of a future imagined pain that can stop you, or fear of future imagined loss that can stop you. Let me give you an example. Let's say you're at a store and you see a really hot guy and you want to talk to him, you want to make a connection with this guy. And instantly what happens in your body when you think about talking to that person? You might be the person where that's no big deal for you, or you might be the person where instantly your stomach tightens, gets in a knot, fear electrifies through every cell of your being, and you're like, oh! If you're the person where fear shoots through you, why does that fear arise? Because you have the what ifs traveling into your mind and painting all kinds of scary pictures on the screen of your imagination. What if he rejects me? What if I look like a fool? What if I totally bumble all over myself and say the wrong thing? He's going to think I'm done. I'm going to be embarrassed. If I'm embarrassed, embarrassment equals pain. And that is something I don't want. And so the fear rises up, and if we're not careful, we'll freeze. Here's another common example. Let's say you want to go after your dream job, something you're really passionate about. And the what ifs creep into your mind. They start painting all kinds of scary pictures on the screen of your mind that says, well, what if I go after this job and it doesn't work out? What if I put in all this time and energy and effort and it just falls flat on its face and it doesn't pan out? I will have left a good job, a steady job with a steady paycheck, with benefits, with security, something I could count on, and then I won't have any money. And that fear of loss will paralyze some people, keeping them from going after what it is that they want. It's the fear of future pain, the fear of loss, those what ifs that paint those scary pictures on the mind that end up paralyzing people from living a life that they love. But not you and not me. You're the kind of person who overcomes that fear. You're the kind of person who walks through the doorway of the possibility that they would love. How do I know? Because you're watching this video. That shows that you're the type of person who wants to grow, who loves learning, growing, and expanding. And I honor that in you. And so let's take a look at 3 tools, 3 steps that can actually reprogram your mind and help you grow and lean into fear in even greater ways. The first step is to rinse. And here's how you use this. When you notice that you're in fear because you're imagining something scary, imagine on the screen of your mind is that scary picture. And imagine that you've got a pressure washer that blasts powerful water and you're blasting off of that screen, that image, you're washing it perfectly clean. And when that image washes clean, what's left on that screen of your mind is a perfect white canvas. Step number 2 is to remind. Remind yourself of what you believe, what you know to be true, which is every day is a fresh start and a new opportunity to create something great. And if one door closes, it doesn't mean it will stay shut forever. There's an opportunity for it to open up, or there's an opportunity for another door to open up, a door of possibilities. Every day you wake up is a new, fresh start to create something beautiful. Let me give you an example of this. So the other day I was grabbing some food for my son, Bryson, and he saw me come to the fridge, and I opened up the fridge and he started crawling over to me, and I grabbed one of the things I needed, and before he could get into the fridge, I closed the fridge. And the moment I closed the fridge, he screamed and started crying. I was like, oh my gosh. And so I picked him up, and I needed something else out of the fridge for him. So I opened it up and he stopped crying. And I grabbed the other thing and I closed the door and I put it here, and he starts crying again. And I needed one more thing. And so I opened the door, he stopped crying, grabbed the other thing, put it down, closed the door, and he didn't cry. And I thought, that's interesting. He didn't cry the third time I closed the door. I opened it up and let him point for what he wanted. He wanted these blueberries in here, so we got him some blueberries. But as we sat down and we enjoyed our food, I found that so fascinating that the first time the door shut, he wailed in pain, crying. And what I was thinking is that, what if he was thinking that door is never going to open again? That door is going to stay shut forever, and he was grieving the possibility he would never have what he wanted in that fridge. But the third time the door closed, he was looking at me with this expectant look on his face, this expectant expression like, I know that door is going to open again. And when he had that mindset of, I know that door is going to open again, it completely shifted his vibration. It completely shifted his emotional state. He was in a state of possibility. And so that's what the remind step does. Wash the fear clean, and then remind yourself that there are an infinite number of possibilities available to you. There's an amazing life available to you. Just as the possibility that it might not work out or there might be pain also exists, at the same time the possibility that it can work out, that this might just be the start of something amazing for you. And so as you connect to that possibility, you get different ideas from that possibility, which brings me to step number 3. Step number 3 is to replace. Replace on that screen of your mind. You have a blank canvas. Replace it with the image of something that you would love, the image of something absolutely beautiful. Speaking of something beautiful, I want to show you something. Now, as you replace the scary image with something that you want, keep in mind that you're in complete control of what that image is. You can put something big, bright, and beautiful on the screen of your mind, or you can put something dark and dismal. It's completely up to you. When my grandmother was 83 years old, she lost the love of her life, my grandfather. And she told me, she said, Matt, it feels like half of me has been cut off and died. And she didn't want to live anymore. And she told me, I don't even know why I'm around. And she was in a very dark place. And after about 6 months, she finally came around and she said, you know what? If God is still keeping me alive, if I'm still breathing, there must be something for me to do. And so she started to look for opportunities. She started to look for possibilities. And one way that she symbolized that was she actually took all the paintings down and the pictures down from the walls in her home, and she put up pictures of open doors to symbolize new possibilities, new beginnings, new adventures. And so she began to do that. And she started a nonprofit for veterans, something that she cared about. She ended up writing a book called 90 Ways to Put a Zip in Your Day. And she started painting. She started being creative. And she would do these beautiful china paintings that later she would be able to give to her grandchildren and her great-grandchildren. Here's one of those china paintings that she blessed my family with. My grandma, Dorothy, her most creative years were from the age of 85 to 92. Her most creative, productive years. And it was because she looked for the possibilities. And finally, at 92 years old, her body gave out on her. And I remember being in the hospital with her at St. John's Hospital, which is the name of her husband, my grandfather. And she's in the hospital room and she says, Matt, look at this. And I come over and she points at the wall, and on the wall of that hospital room was an open door. And she said, I'm ready to go. And before she went, she said, Matt, I've had 92 years of amazing, full life. And man, does it go by fast. Relish every minute of it. Do not let fear stand in your way. Look for the open doors and walk through. And a few hours later, she passed. And what a powerful message for you and I this day, to look for the open doors and do not let fear keep you from that step, but to take that step anyway. Look for the open door of possibility and walk through. For you to know that today is your day and your life has in front of it amazing possibilities, amazing relationships, amazing dreams in store for you. To look to those possibilities and walk through that door. That is the call to action for you and for me this day. And so let's claim it. Thanks so much for watching. I'll see you soon.